Hello, we're back, and
Okay.
this is our second time doing this. Again, we're in our office in the van, having some technical difficulties, right?
Yeah, we just had some technical difficulties that we couldn't figure out, but it's all working now, so I hope it goes well from here and on. Anyway, shall we reintroduce ourselves?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm Asuka, California licensed clinical social worker.
I'm Noel, he, him, his pronouns, professional drummer and plant person, and not used to doing stuff like this. So, I don't know. I think at some point I'll find my rhythm, but I just kind of feel like at the beginning, I feel a little awkward, maybe kind of subconsciously feeling like I might be sounding boring, but who knows? I think it's not about that, more so the content that shows up, I believe. I don't know. Fighting through my own insecurities, as they say.
We're doing our best. That's what we can do. And we have, a drink partner. Coffee
Yes.
and tea. We are coffee and drink tea person. And we like to go to cafe in usual on the weekend. So this is from San Diego local coffee shop, Moniker Coffee in Point Loma.
Yeah, the one that we went to was in Point Loma.
Yes. I got Hawaiian latte, which I'm enjoying.
Matcha for some madness for me, but yeah.
So I guess we're just gonna talk about random stuff, whatever we feel like talking. But one thing for me is we were kind of talking about we have been kind of feeling heavy this week for whatever reasons. It's been difficult time for many reasons, and so
post Valentine's Day.
We're shooting this on February 15th on Saturday, and so I'm wondering maybe we can talk about how we usually try to manage those times when we are not feeling the best.
Is it managing though? I mean, I feel like I haven't really, personally for me, haven't really managed it, as opposed to I'm gonna peel myself off the floor after going in a rage mode. I don't know. But I think for me, my thing is when I get in a mode, I get really angry and I want to isolate and I don't want to talk and I don't want to be around people. And it's just, for any of you out there that can speak Japanese, for me, when I'm in that mode, there's a term in Japanese called mendokusai, or maybe it's troublesome, and I just don't want to do it. I'm not motivated. And so I think recently I started leaning into some friends that I feel like have the capacity to be there for me, even if I don't want to necessarily in that moment talk to them. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I've been kind of practicing to reach out to your social support.
What about you?
Yeah, I think for me, rather than going for rage mode, my coping mechanism tends to go to more of the shutting down, or just put your heads down and then just to go through whatever that's happening. And so I guess in that sense, I try to suppress my emotions or feelings, because in that moment, I feel like maybe those are something that I don't need to go through. So, I think, recently, whenever I feel heaviness or uncomfortableness, then, I think reaching out to my social support. Also, I think between us, we are practicing to just acknowledge what it is. And if you don't need, even if we may not need, or I may not know why I'm feeling this way, I think just articulating it or just saying it out loud, how I am feeling. I think, I'm feeling the power in it to makes us feel closer by just acknowledging where we are emotionally, even if that may not give us a solution necessarily. But I think, sharing with each other, I think makes us feel closer.
Yeah, I mean, even now, currently, to be vulnerable and honest, like I don't feel in a mental space to. I don't know. I think I'm fighting to feel connected for myself right now. But I mean, sometimes just talking about it out loud is a way to deal with it, or a way to process it. It's hard because it just makes me feel like, I don't know, I'd rather not. Let's say I don't want to catch myself being so caught up in everybody else's inability to be aware, and it's not fair if I'm the only one suffering from that, which can lead to an attitude of I don't give a shit about all, which I think that's wrong too, because then I don't think that's what it is either, because you don't want to be so disconnected that you become an asshole. But I feel like, yeah, these days,
Well, that's a fine balance, I feel like.
Yeah, and that's why I don't like the word balance though, because balance is always anxiety for me anyway. I don't connect or associate myself with the word balance, because I don't think balance is a healthy word for the way. I mean, you can perceive anything you want; it's all semantics. But I mean, thinking about balance, I just feel like that's so limiting versus being in a harmonic flow. And right now, I feel like my frequency right now is erratic and violently pulsing and up and down. But I don't know. I think it's leaning into the discomfort as to why that might be the process of the core. I think shedding old versions of yourself is hard.
Yeah. Tell us more about it, because that's a real struggle.
Well, I mean, we I don't know. I feel like we, even if things are difficult, we have a tendency to lean into the things that make our problems worse because we know it so well. It's like that's the language we speak is discomfort, or the language we're fluent in is pain or suffering, because we've been in it for so long, done it so many times, and so
we tend to go for that familiarity, even if it's unhealthy.
And so I think it is uncomfortable, yes, but then is it the real uncomfortable moment, the fact that you could not do that? I think that's the other thing, is how do you choose to be understanding of that human moment and choose not to be affected by it at the same time, right? It's a choice. And I think sometimes the choice is why for me anyway, the reason why I choose sometimes to feel angry or whatever, because I want to just make sure everybody understands what I do and do it my way, and just, why can't you do better? And then that frustrates me, I think. And then I then come to my senses and realize, even if they do it better, what the hell did that do for me anyway? I'm still in the same space. So that's tough.
And we are both learning to believe that everyone is doing their best, even if in the situation that you don't believe that others are doing their best.
Right.
I mean, that's same for me. And I think it's, easier said than done.
Well, because then I want to tell them, like, your best isn't good enough. But then someone's probably saying the same thing about me. So I mean, it's a kind of a never-ending cycle. So it's kind of like, just mind your own damn business, and that's me too. I need to mind my own damn business. I think, I don't know, I feel like there is the part of it just being able to feel it, like feel angry, feel frustrated, feel whatever. And then that's it. Like, just feel it, go through it, and that's okay. I think it gets worse when we start to feel that and then want to tell people what to do. Right? It's a difference between telling them how you want support. That's different. Like, I want this. So I think when you say, I need X, Y, and Z for support in this moment, then the people who can supply X, Y, and Z will show up. But if you say, you need to be X, Y, and Z for me now to anybody, that's not fair, because now there's an expectation on them to force them to be at a capacity that they may not be able to reach, or a capacity they don't even have, so that you can be supported. And I think that's not how that works. I think that's not fair, and it's too much expectation for others to conveniently show up the way you want them. And I think that's a thing that I don't like.
I think that awareness, it takes a lot to build that awareness. I can see you're putting a lot of efforts in it to develop that awareness. I
mean, I'm aware of it. I think that even with my awareness, still going to rage mode. I don't know. I feel like I think the other part of it is I want to abandon the possibilities of being different sometimes, because it's easier to just stay where you are. But then the shedding of yourself to be new requires an adjustment in the environment. And sometimes you have to peel that part of you off. And the peeling part of the old version of yourself sometimes either hurts, or it's uncomfortable, or it's sticky, or it's mendokusai.
You don't want to, right? Almost. I would feel that way.
Well, yeah, because then, like, you're different now, and everything's new now. Your whole world is new, and I think you have to grow in that new world now.
Right.
I don't want to grow up.
Also, I mean, in a sense, it's also attachment, right? Like, you already attached to the old version of yourself, because that's how you know who you are. and trying to come out of it is, yeah, like you say, it's really, a challenge, transformative experience.
So how do you get out of it though? Like how do you
I know, I think that's I think it's not easy. And in the meantime, what I see, I cannot say that I am doing it all the time. So I think it's also, for me, working in progress, right? So I cannot preach to what we all should do. But I think it's a matter of the intention, right? And a willingness to try. Like knowing how hard it is. Let me try. I think that narrative is important, and I think detaching ourselves from the expectation to make it perfect or try to aim for 100% from the get-go.
I think that's my problem, is that because it's so uncomfortable, I feel like there's some inherent shame in not getting it right the first time, whatever that means, because there's no such thing as getting it right anyway. In this matter of emotion and mental health, or mental awareness, emotional intelligence, you can't get it right because there's nothing right if everyone's different. Like technically anything that you do is right or wrong depending on or a process depending on who you are and what your thing is. And I think that's the thing that, as a matter of fact, will kind of negate or challenge the whole perfection aspect of it. But still, it's so frustrating anyway that I can't get it right away. Like I conceptually understand, and then my mind and my body isn't responding the way I want it to. And that again is perfectionism and expectation, because it's like, why are you not getting it? Now I'm not being kind to myself, right? Because now I'm expecting my body, my mind to do the thing right the first time, even if it's a whole brand new experience. Doesn't make any sense. So I think maybe I just discovered something right now where I talk about vulnerability, but I don't like the relationship with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's really
nothing comfortable. Yeah, it is nothing comfortable or smooth or positive. Eventually we want to feel positive after going through the process of being vulnerable and being genuine, honest, authentic to ourselves.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I do challenge the word positive too, because it depends on what you perceive as positive or negative. And sometimes the negative thing brings about the positive thing. And without the negative thing, you can never understand what positivity is anyway. Because then you're just going to be one of those people out there that is always saying, oh, everything's going to be fine. No, just think positive. Toxic positivity is a thing. And I don't agree with people that are like that. And I guess I could rationalize and get them, because they believe it so much that they're going to always be okay. But then I think there's no awareness outside either. And then if someone really is in need, then a person who keeps saying, oh, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, isn't really giving a shit about you, and they call themselves your friend, or some kind of situation like that. But anyway, aside from that though, I from my experience anyway, whether I like it or not, I feel like anything that has been a really immensely positive or beautiful development in my life, or some kind of realization or epiphany that was so moving in my life, happened only after something that was really, really terrible, or something that was really hard or a difficult journey. And I wonder if they coexist, is that you can't realize the beauty of the value of something without fighting through or struggling through or growing through the process to get there, the journey, as they say.
Which, by the way, just reminded me of the quote that you shared with me yesterday on the Valentine's Day card.
Yeah, from a song, yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, it's a song by NDRE and another artist I can't remember, but...
Remember?
I could pull it up somewhere, but... Oh, let me see. Talk while I find it.
I think I thought that the lyric or the quote that you shared with me really summarized that, what you just said, without pain or the hardship. Like you said, because of that pain and the hardship, there is the bright side on the other side. I think no pain, no gain, or no rain, no rainbow.
Right.
kind of quote, but yeah, I thought that
Oh,
was
okay.
some.
Yeah, and it says in Diary in a song with Stormzy, and the song is entitled "I Got My Smile Back." Sings, "Finally, my eyes can see the sun behind my rain, the color in my pain. I may fall down, feet don't fail me now, 'cause through the storm I found my smile." So that it's beautiful. I also feel. The words are more powerful when she's singing it. So obviously she has such a soulful voice, and she really is about frequency. And she's vulnerable about things that piss her off too, which I think is really cool. That she's vocal about, even if she's a celebrity, she's vocal about what she does align and does not align with. And one day we'd love to meet her. That'd be cool.
Sure.
I gotta pee.
Okay. We're back. Okay, so I guess going back to what we were talking about, would you like to talk a little bit more about balance and harmony?
Okay. Well, okay, I don't know. From my experience, I realized, especially as an Asian American person, we're always taught to think about like work-life balance or some kind of balance, academic balance, some balance. And balance is so limiting, I realize. And you're always so anxietal to try to make sure everything is balanced, meaning everything is on a scale, meaning the scale can't move. If you even try to adjust your life to whatever the balance is, the scale shifts and the weights are off. And then if you make a mistake, the weights are off. If you breathe on it, the weights are off. No matter what you do, in adjustment or change, like you'll always shift the scale somehow. Like that sucks, right? Because that means that you have to get it perfect. Or to achieve ultimate balance, you can't move. You can't move the scale. You can't move yourself. You can't do anything. But harmony, right, is a frequency. Like if you think about music, harmony is different sounds with different frequencies all coming together to create chords and texture. And like think of an orchestra, right? Like the frequency of a French horn is not the same frequency as a cello or a violin or the drum, right? And so when overlaid on top of each other, you could create almost anything you want, and it changes, and then it becomes beautiful. It becomes different things. So harmony, for example, your frequency may be very different than mine as far as the wavelength. It could be shorter or it could be longer, depending on how you stretch for that version of yourself for that day. And even though you and I are different, when we overlay our frequencies together, we create a harmonic chord. We complement our own frequencies, and maybe it synergizes them to be more. We don't have to balance anything. We don't have to be anything more than ourselves. I realize with harmony too, like just even in nature is in harmony. You know, there's always something, there's always a predator eating a prey, or there's always a plant trying to search for light, but somehow they find a way to complement each other, to exist cohesively in some kind of symbiotic relationship, depending on where they are, to be able to survive or to thrive or to live or to make a family or whatever. So all of them are in a state of change constantly. They're not trying to figure out some kind of balance and then they just stay there. Right? They're always looking for more water. They're always looking for more sun. They're always looking for a newer source of food or a more protective area for their survival. It's always in motion. It's always in change. And I think for us as humans, to want to achieve balance means we want everything to be the same forever. And that's just not how it works. Right? I don't agree. I don't agree with anyone who says, I just wanted to make sure it's balanced. Again, you could probably like say, oh, well, balance, I mean it like this. I mean, that's just semantics, but that's the thing, is using the words right and using the words right and trying to intentionalize what the meanings behind these things are so important. Balance, for me anyway, I cannot move forward. I can't make a mistake. With harmony, in the frequency, I can make mistakes and learn from it, because that just means my frequency changed for that moment, and it's fine, because I could always move forward. I could constantly move forward. I could constantly change. I could shift gears. I could overlay myself to you. I could overlay myself to someone new, to someone old, the way we change, the way we mature, how we separate ourselves from each other, how we come together. So that's my thing that I've been thinking about, talking about for a while now. What do you think? That was lots.
I think based on what you just shared, my image of the differences is balance is maybe more of that linear flat
Yeah.
parameter on a scale, and the harmony it sound like more of the layered,
Multi-dimensional.
multi-dimensional. I kind of just had that image as difference. So maybe when it comes to the flat line scale, then it seems like it's just limited in just one flat, and maybe even just that limited beginning and end type of image. But I guess the harmony, I don't know, makes me feel like it's more expansion, maybe.
Maybe in this context, expansion.
Yeah. So,
Room for expansion.
room for expansion, yeah. So maybe that could be the difference.
Yeah.
Maybe in that more of that concept of harmony, that makes me feel like, okay, then we have more options, or we have more flexibility.
It's that. Because think about it, like let's say you finally achieve balance, then by the time you achieve whatever that balance is in your life changes. Then what do? You gotta change again. So the flexibility to change is frequency of harmony, because you adjust according to what has been new, what is new in your life, right? What is new around you. So to constantly adjust is to not try to achieve balance. To achieve balance means it stops and you no longer do anything. I don't know. I don't agree with that mindset that it's like, okay, it'll balance, and then all of a sudden the scale tips, and then you have to balance it again. I feel that, so to me that sounds so anxietal versus just saying I want to be in a constant flow of things. Water in flow will always course through the least resistance, like a stream or a river. It will just flow where it can go. It doesn't like to be stopped. Once it stops, it just becomes the word stagnant, right? Like and if we change the word water to emotion or spirituality or creativity, then it becomes stagnant. Like it gets dammed up, and then what happens? And it wants to explode over time. And so, I feel like that's what I've been in relationship with these days. And I think maybe by saying that out loud, I think where I get angry or I feel the resistance is people's inability to understand my flow, that want to dam me closed and prevent my flow from happening. And that's where the resistance for me comes from, is that I feel like I'm being stopped from my flow. But I think the thing that I'm caught up in my humanness is, why am I even allowing that to happen in the first place? Versus, okay, they're trying to become an obstacle for me. How then do I flow around that obstacle then? Versus trying to pierce through it, right? Why can't I just go around it? I think that's for me and my vulnerability for people who don't know me. My first emotional output when meeting something that I don't align with is unfortunately anger. I get so frustrated, I get so angry. And so it's okay to be angry, it's an emotion, but then sometimes that anger transmutes into rage, and then that is what's destructive. Mm-hmm. So then that is maybe the universe saying, this is happening so that you can practice the skills that I have given to you, or that I feel that you have control over, so that when you finally have some kind of mastery over the thing, then we can move on to the next level, so then you can be better all the time. Not an expectation of, or shame, meaning like, well, how come we can't do this? Do it again. It's not like that to me anymore. It used to be. But what is it telling me as far as what I'm forgetting as a course of how I should proceed in response versus reaction to?
Yeah. Response versus react. It seems similar, but there is the difference. Yeah, I think reaction is more automatic, unintentional, subconscious action. Response with more intention, with more control, maybe in a sense. I don't know if the control is the best word.
More awareness.
More aware, yeah, maybe more awareness. So yeah, I think aiming for responding versus reacting. Yeah, I think that's the key.
Yeah, and I think it shows up so many times because we are practicing. It's like going to a mental or emotional gym. It's working that out. It's not a punishment. It can be if you make it, but it's not necessarily a punishment versus practicing the skill. And I think that, again, that's the journey. That's the harmony, right? It's not, you're not trying to balance it out. You're trying to just let it flow so you can learn, or let it flow so that you can accept how the workload that you are receiving from this moment, and then become better from that. There's no expectation for you to, why can't you get it right? So
yeah, and I think you have a good point of, I believe mental health is a skill, something that you can learn and develop. and equip yourself. And so I think, yeah, from that perspective, also that gives me, in a sense, of the hope that, okay, even if I may have the, sometimes good days and bad days with mental health, but again, I have something to learn about it. I have things that I can apply to be able to improve myself from it. And so it is always not mental health is bad and therefore I am bad. I don't have to stay there the whole time. It is something that can be changed, that can be learned, that can be practiced, which I think I like.
Well, it's nice to be able to have that, because then we are participating in the vibrational frequency of the universe. Then if we start to go really deep into the philosophical, spiritual realm of why all of this is important, because then it's like, what is the universe allowing us to influencing us or guiding us through this life, through the experiences that we're facing at any given time, right? And like, I think one of the things that someone said recently, it's grace could never be deserved because it's a gift. And that's the thing. It's like, yeah, pretty, bro. Because say more. We're always different, and grace is the concept of grace is just to be able to have the goodness and the love and the healing and all that kind of stuff from the universe, all that given to you. And if it's given to you, that means it's given to me too, which means if you and I can receive that means anyone literally in any space can receive grace, whatever it means to them too. And so grace isn't given just to select people. It's given to all as a gift. And what do we do with that gift is our responsibility, or our whatever we decide that's what's hard. That's what's difficult, is that even this person, these people, X, Y, and Z, that behave this way, they still get grace too, just like me. Knowing that, then what do I do with the grace given? Am I aware of the grace? Do I show gratitude for the grace? Do I change because of the grace? Do I evolve or become shed an old version of myself to receive that grace? That kind of stuff. And it's hard, because then I look outward and say, well, you didn't do a lot of work to get this grace, but then that's not how grace works anyway. So again, it's already given. And then that's me trying to balance things out, right? Like karma. And that's not even how karma works, really. It's just karma is just a force that levels things out that are unfair, whatever it means, even if it's against us, because maybe we did something that isn't right or isn't fair. It is the way of the universe. So
I guess that's how we can also learn maybe self-kindness and self-compassion.
Yeah, because sometimes we just have to believe in it. We don't have to have proof that it is coming our way or that it is for us. Sometimes we just have to believe that it is there already, without having to have tangible proof that it is for us or that it now belongs to us or whatever. Sometimes that's why to do that requires a thing called faith, and faith is blind, because you can't believing something that's invisible. Right.
Yeah. I can speak from myself that it is sometimes hard to believe something that's invisible.
For example,
I think we tend to go for something we can see tangible.
So for you specifically, or as an example that you'd like to share, how does that show up for you?
Like self-confidence and self-worth in general. It is nothing that we can see it.
No, I mean for you.
For me, it is nothing that we can see it, and so that I have hard time to, logically, I can understand I should be worthy. I am worthy. And I think in my mind, I look for that evidence, because almost like I have to maybe earn that proof and the evidence, tangible thing, to make me believe that I am worthy. So that is already wrong narrative based on what we just talked about.
And a very frequent narrative, though, among a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's where we a lot of times we fall for that. So we try to just chase something tangible, evidence, to prove ourselves. Why do we even have to do it? Maybe not, but then That's the hardest thing.
I mean, in our lives too. I mean, work, education, there's always some kind of test or examination or review that it's always an assessment of what you have achieved. And it is so tiring because a lot of people don't function that way. We shouldn't be held on a scale to balance out what we know right now or who we need to be right now, like that, versus just allowing us to be in a state of flux in vibrational frequency, to be able to be good and then sometimes not good, and then have the know and believe that the pendulum will swing upward again, right? So yeah, it's a practice. It's
the daily practice that again we can apply and then get better at.
I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying. That's hard. Yeah. So in some final words, what is your message leaving February going into March? Going into springtime?
Well, I guess regardless of so many things happening that is making us feel uncomfortable, uncertain, and scary. I also, well, because this month is also Valentine's Day, the month of love and affection. So I think I want to lean into that energy of love and support and acknowledgement of what we have right here, right now. Yeah, I think I want to tap into that energy going to March is something that I want to be mindful with a gratitude of what I have in my life, rather than focusing on what I don't have or what I may not have in the future. How about you?
I guess I go back to the whole stay in frequency, stay in flow, because yeah, love is really important. Love is kind of overlooked because I think there's so much talk about what love should be or can be that no one's looking at love the way they would like it for themselves. Right? They're always minding how everything else is around them, and so they try to fashion their love in that way when it's not speaking to their authenticity. So stay in flow, right? And be kind to yourself in the process of shedding old versions of yourself, because we're talking about spring. Spring brings flowers, so every flower in the garden blooms at a different time. So be patient and be kind to yourself, and know that one day, if you feel like you haven't bloomed yet, that maybe you will finally bloom this time. Or if you feel like you've bloomed already before and now you're kind of just trying to grow again, just be patient that you'll bloom once more when you need to in a different way. So stay in frequency, stay in harmony with yourself, stay in harmony with the people who are supportive of you, stay in harmony with your environment, and try not to be caught up in the balancing act that's so anxietal and still and stagnant. So just be you.
Going with the ebbs and flows.
Ebbs and flows. Okay, so we'll see you all in March.
But stay tuned and see you soon.
See you soon. Bye.